Laughter echoed across the training range as a Barrett MRAD rifle jammed during practice. A young officer laughed loudly. "This weapon isn't for women to mess around with." The frustrated captain lost his patience and threw the rifle toward a brown-haired female soldier. "If you're so good, fix it!" Laughter spread across the entire range, but as she bent down and smoothly disassembled the weapon, silver gleamed from her pocket. A challenge coin engraved with 87 confirmed kills. The captain stood frozen in shock. Her name was Nora Vasquez, 30 years old with long brown hair that she kept pulled back in a regulation military bun. She had a slender build and a composed face that rarely showed emotion, maintaining the kind of professional demeanor that made her nearly invisible in most military settings. Nora worked as a technical support specialist at the Army's Advanced Marksmanship Training Facility, responsible for maintaining weapon systems, conducting equipment inspections, and ensuring that all firearms were properly cleaned and calibrated for training exercises. Her job required detailed knowledge of weapon mechanics and ballistics, but to most of the soldiers who trained at the facility, she was just another support worker. To the infantry soldiers and special operations trainees who dominated the training programs, Nora was background personnel, whose job was to ensure their equipment functioned properly. She was the person who cleaned their rifles after training exercises, who restocked ammunition supplies, and who filed maintenance reports that kept the training facility operational. "She does good work with equipment maintenance," said Staff Sergeant Rodriguez during a conversation with his training squad, "but that's completely different from actually using these weapons in combat situations. She handles the technical side, not the warrior side." Lieutenant Thompson was more dismissive in his assessment. "Look, I'm sure she knows how to clean a rifle and replace broken parts, but when it comes to actual marksmanship and combat applications, that requires training and experience she obviously doesn't have. She's support staff, not a shooter." During training exercises, several of the younger soldiers would make jokes about having a weapons custodian working among elite warriors preparing for combat deployments. They assumed that Nora's mechanical knowledge was purely theoretical, gained from technical manuals rather than practical field experience. Nora never argued with these characterizations or tried to educate the soldiers about her background and qualifications. She simply focused on her assigned responsibilities, ensuring that every weapon system under her care was maintained to the highest possible standards. But what the trainees didn't see were the small acts of service and attention that Nora provided beyond her official duties. During long training days when soldiers worked through meal times, she would quietly ensure that fresh food and water were available in the break areas. She understood that proper nutrition and hydration were critical for maintaining focus and performance during intensive training exercises. When soldiers' personal equipment was damaged during training, Nora would often spend her own time repairing gear that wasn't technically her responsibility. She would mend torn tactical vests, replace broken equipment straps, and ensure that every trainee had functional gear for their exercises. She maintained detailed personal records of each weapon's performance characteristics, noting subtle variations that could affect accuracy and reliability. This attention to detail often meant the difference between successful training exercises and equipment failures that could compromise learning objectives. In her jacket pocket, Nora carried a small silver challenge coin that had been with her for several years. The coin was worn smooth from handling, and engraved on its surface were the words Kraken Unit, along with a number that would have stunned anyone who understood its significance: 87 confirmed kills. Challenge coins were a military tradition used to recognize exceptional service and achievement. But this particular coin represented something far more significant than routine recognition. It was awarded only to snipers who had achieved the highest levels of combat effectiveness under the most demanding conditions imaginable. She would touch the coin sometimes during quiet moments, remembering teammates who had depended on her precision and skills to survive hostile encounters. The coin represented not just personal achievement, but the lives that had been saved through her expertise with precision weapons systems. One time, my rifle jammed, and she just glanced at it and fixed it in 10 seconds. Before I could thank her, she was already walking away. I knew she wasn't ordinary. Young trainee's testimony. The crisis began during an advanced sniper training exercise designed to test the capabilities of soldiers preparing for specialized reconnaissance missions. The training scenario involved long-range precision shooting with the Barrett MRAD, one of the military's most sophisticated sniper rifle systems, capable of accurately engaging targets at distances exceeding 1,500 meters. The exercise was proceeding normally when Sergeant First Class Davis experienced a weapon malfunction that brought the entire training session to a halt. His MRAD rifle had suffered a bolt jam that prevented the weapon from cycling properly, leaving him unable to continue the exercise. "Sir, the bolt is completely seized," Davis reported to Captain Morrison, the training officer supervising the exercise. "I can't clear the malfunction with standard procedures." Captain Morrison examined the weapon with growing frustration. The MRAD was a precision instrument that required specialized knowledge to repair, and weapon malfunctions during training exercises created expensive delays and training disruptions that affected the entire program schedule. "Does anyone here have experience with MRAD malfunction procedures?" Morrison asked the assembled trainees and support staff. The response was discouraging. Most of the soldiers present had basic familiarity with the weapon system, but none felt qualified to attempt repairs on such an expensive and sophisticated piece of equipment. The MRAD cost over $15,000, and improper repair attempts could cause damage requiring factory-level maintenance. "Sir," said Specialist Williams, "maybe we should contact the manufacturer's technical support team. They have specialized tools and training for this kind of problem. But calling for outside technical support would mean ending the training exercise and potentially delaying the entire program for several days while replacement equipment was arranged and repairs were completed." As the discussion continued, Nora approached the group of soldiers surrounding the malfunctioned weapon. She had been observing the situation while continuing her routine equipment maintenance duties, and she recognized the specific type of bolt jam that was causing the problem. "Captain Morrison," she said respectfully, "I might be able to help with the weapon malfunction." The reaction from the soldiers was immediate skepticism, mixed with barely concealed amusement. These were elite warriors training for some of the most dangerous missions in military service, and they were being offered assistance by a female support worker whose job was equipment maintenance. "Ma'am," said Sergeant Davis with obvious condescension, "this is a precision sniper weapon system, not a basic service rifle. Repairing this kind of malfunction requires specialized training and certification that takes years to develop." Lieutenant Thompson was more direct in his dismissal. "Look, I'm sure you're good at basic maintenance and cleaning procedures, but the MRAD is a complex precision instrument. One mistake in repair procedures could damage the weapon permanently." But Captain Morrison's frustration with the training delay was growing, and he was willing to consider any option that might get the exercise back on track. "What kind of experience do you have with this weapon system?" he asked Nora. "I have extensive experience with precision rifle maintenance and repair," Nora replied simply, not elaborating on the specific nature of that experience. The soldiers exchanged glances that clearly indicated their skepticism about her qualifications. But Captain Morrison made a decision based on pragmatic necessity, rather than assumptions about her capabilities. "Fine," he said, his frustration evident as he handed the jammed rifle to Nora. "If you think you can fix it, go ahead. But if you cause any damage to this weapon, you'll be personally responsible for the replacement costs." What happened next surprised everyone watching. Nora accepted the rifle with calm confidence and immediately began disassembling the bolt mechanism, with movements that demonstrated professional familiarity with the weapon system. Her disassembly procedure was smooth and systematic, following protocols that suggested extensive hands-on experience rather than theoretical knowledge gained from technical manuals. She identified the cause of the jam quickly and began extracting the stuck cartridge case with precision tools that she produced from her own equipment kit. "How does she know those procedures?" whispered Specialist Rodriguez to his training partner. "Those aren't standard maintenance techniques." As Nora worked to clear the malfunction, she inadvertently shifted position in a way that caused something to fall from her jacket pocket. The object that hit the ground was a small silver challenge coin that gleamed in the afternoon sunlight. Sergeant Davis bent down to retrieve the fallen coin, intending to return it to Nora. But when he looked at the coin's inscription, his expression changed dramatically. "Jesus Christ," he whispered, staring at the coin in his hand. "This says Kraken Unit. 87 confirmed kills." The effect of those words on the assembled soldiers was immediate and electric. Kraken Unit was legendary within special operations circles, known for conducting the most dangerous and classified missions in military history. And 87 confirmed kills represented a level of sniper achievement that most soldiers would never approach. Challenge coins weren't given lightly, especially those documenting combat achievements. The coin in Davis's hand represented proof of extraordinary service in conditions that most people couldn't imagine surviving. "I've never seen anyone disassemble an MRAD that fast. And that coin, only legendary snipers carried challenge coins like that." Weapons technicians account. The silence that followed Sergeant Davis's announcement was deafening. Every person on the training range understood the significance of what they had just discovered. The quiet support worker they had dismissed and mocked was carrying proof of sniper achievements that exceeded anything most of them would accomplish in entire military careers. Nora calmly finished reassembling the MRAD rifle, her hands moving with practiced efficiency as she completed the repair procedure and performed function checks to ensure the weapon was operating properly. She seemed completely unaware of the stunned silence surrounding her, or the challenge coin that had revealed her extraordinary background. "Weapon is repaired and ready for training," she said simply, handing the rifle back to Sergeant Davis. The bolt jam was caused by a slightly oversized cartridge case that created an extraction problem. It shouldn't happen again with standard ammunition. But Captain Morrison was staring at the challenge coin in Davis's hand, his expression showing the confusion and growing respect of someone realizing that his assumptions had been completely wrong. "Ma'am," Morrison said carefully, "this challenge coin, it indicates service with Kraken Unit and 87 confirmed kills. Are you saying you're a qualified military sniper?" Nora looked at the coin and then back at Morrison with the same calm composure she had always shown. "Captain, I'm currently assigned as a technical support specialist. My previous service record isn't relevant to my current duties." "But Silent Viper," said Master Sergeant Collins, a veteran instructor who had been observing the training exercise from a distance. "That's your call sign, isn't it? Silent Viper from Kraken Unit." The name recognition rippled through the group of soldiers like a physical shock. Silent Viper was legendary within sniper communities, known for precision shooting achievements under impossible conditions and for missions that had saved countless American lives during classified operations. "You were the sniper who provided overwatch for the Kandahar extraction," Collins continued, his voice filled with awe. "The mission where you eliminated hostile forces at ranges exceeding 1,800 meters to protect the helicopter landing zone." As the soldiers began to understand who had been working among them unrecognized for months, Nora's transformation became apparent to everyone watching. The quiet, unassuming support worker was revealed to be one of the most accomplished precision shooters in military history. "Silent Viper," said Lieutenant Thompson, his voice barely above a whisper, "your service record. You saved entire units through precision shooting. How many operations did you support?" "Enough," Nora replied simply, not elaborating on the classified missions that had defined her military service. But Captain Morrison was processing the implications of having a legendary sniper working in his training facility without anyone recognizing her capabilities. "Ma'am, with your background and achievements, why are you working as technical support? You could have any position in advanced marksmanship training." For the first time since the conversation began, Nora showed emotion. Her composed expression softened slightly as she considered how to explain her choice to step away from the world of combat operations. "Captain," she said quietly, "after my last deployment, I lost my spotter and several team members in an ambush. I decided that I had contributed enough to combat operations. I requested assignment to technical support because I wanted to help prepare other soldiers without returning to active combat duties." The weight of her explanation settled over the training range like a heavy blanket. Everyone present understood that they were in the presence of someone who had not only achieved extraordinary success in the most dangerous military operations, but who had also paid a personal price that led her to choose a quieter form of service. "Ma'am," said Sergeant Davis, holding out the challenge coin with obvious respect, "we owe you an apology that we can never adequately express. We made assumptions about your capabilities based on your current assignment, and we were completely wrong. But it was what happened next that would be remembered by everyone present for the rest of their military careers." Without being asked, Nora picked up the repaired MRAD rifle and walked to the firing line where the training exercise had been interrupted. "Captain Morrison," she said calmly, "would you like me to demonstrate that the weapon repair was successful?" Morrison nodded, still processing the revelation about her background. "Yes, ma'am. The target is at 1,500 meters." What followed was a demonstration of precision shooting that left everyone speechless. Nora assumed a prone shooting position with the fluid movements of someone who had done this thousands of times under conditions far more challenging than a peaceful training range. Her shot preparation was methodical and professional, accounting for wind conditions, atmospheric pressure, and target range with calculations that she performed effortlessly. When she fired, the shot was perfect, striking the distant target with accuracy that would have been impressive for any military sniper. "Weapon is functioning properly," she said, as she safed the rifle and prepared to return it to the training exercise. "You can resume your training." But as word spread throughout the training facility about Silent Viper's presence and demonstration, soldiers began gathering to witness something that none of them had expected to see. The quiet support worker, who had been invisible to most of them, was revealed to be exactly the kind of warrior they aspired to become. "Silent Viper," said a young soldier who had been particularly dismissive of her earlier, could you teach us? I mean, really teach us what you know about precision shooting?" Nora looked around at the faces of soldiers who now viewed her with respect and admiration rather than dismissal and condescension. "The most important thing I can teach you," she said gently, "is that the goal isn't to achieve the highest kill count. The goal is to bring your teammates home alive." She picked up her challenge coin and placed it carefully back in her jacket pocket. "Every shot you take should be about protecting someone else, not about personal achievement. If you've ever mocked someone and then had to bow your head in respect, type, 'I owe an apology' in the comments below." In the days following the dramatic revelation at the training range, word spread throughout the military community about the legendary sniper who had been working unrecognized as technical support. But despite offers of promotion, advanced instructor positions, and public recognition, Nora Vasquez made a choice that surprised everyone who had witnessed her extraordinary demonstration. She declined all offers to return to active shooting duties or accept positions that would publicize her background and achievements. The morning after revealing her identity, Nora simply returned to her technical support responsibilities, continuing to maintain weapons and equipment with the same quiet professionalism she had always shown. But everything had changed in how the training facility viewed her and themselves. The soldiers who had mocked her capabilities now approached their interactions with support personnel with completely different attitudes. "She taught us that we don't know the stories of the people around us," Sergeant Davis told anyone who would listen. "How many other people are we dismissing because we don't understand their backgrounds?" Captain Morrison implemented new procedures requiring all personnel to document their complete military experience and qualifications, regardless of their current assignment. "We can't afford to overlook capabilities that could enhance our training programs," he explained to his command staff. The training facility's weapons maintenance area, previously seen as a routine support function, became a place where soldiers sought opportunities to learn from someone whose expertise far exceeded their own. Nora found herself answering technical questions and providing guidance that went far beyond basic equipment maintenance. "Ma'am," said Master Sergeant Collins during a quiet moment between training exercises, "would you be willing to provide some unofficial guidance to our advanced marksmanship students? Not as a formal instructor, but just sharing some of your experience?" Nora smiled with the same gentle patience she had always shown. "Sergeant, I'm here to support training in whatever way is most helpful. If sharing experience helps prepare soldiers for successful missions, then I'm honored to contribute." The facility's bulletin board, previously filled with training schedules and safety reminders, now featured a simple handwritten note. A87, confirmed kills. She saved lives. Respect those who serve quietly. Word of Nora's background reached the Army's Advanced Sniper School, where her former instructors remembered her exceptional performance and record-setting achievements during precision shooting training. They sent a commendation recognizing her service and inviting her to join their instructor cadre if she ever chose to return to active training duties. But Nora's response reflected her commitment to the support mission she had chosen. "I'm grateful for the recognition," she replied, "but my place is ensuring that current soldiers have the equipment and support they need to succeed in their missions." Late one evening, as Nora completed her equipment maintenance duties and prepared the weapons for the next day's training exercises, she sat quietly in the armory and pulled out the silver challenge coin that had revealed her extraordinary past. The inscription, 87 confirmed kills, seemed to glow under the armory's fluorescent lights, reminding her of teammates who hadn't made it home and missions that had required precision shooting under the most dangerous conditions imaginable. "Brothers," she whispered to the quiet armory, "I'm still serving. Different mission, same commitment to bringing everyone home safely." The challenge coin represented not just her combat achievements, but her ongoing dedication to supporting others in their service. Technical support might not involve pulling triggers, but it ensured that other soldiers had reliable equipment when their lives depended on weapon performance. As she prepared to leave the facility for the evening, several of the soldiers from the training exercise approached her with obvious gratitude and respect. "Ma'am," said the young soldier who had been most mocking of her earlier, "thank you for showing us that real heroes often work in the background, keeping the rest of us ready for whatever comes next. Type, I will live with honor, if you believe that silence sometimes contains the greatest victories." This story isn't just about a jammed MRAD rifle or a challenge coin with an impressive kill count. It's about something much deeper that affects every workplace, every organization, and every community, where people make assumptions about each other based on current roles rather than complete backgrounds and life experiences. Every day, in organizations around the world, there are people like Nora Vasquez, combat veterans working in civilian support roles, former special operations personnel who chose quieter careers after completing their service, accomplished professionals who stepped away from high-profile positions to serve others in less visible ways. We dismiss them because their current job titles don't match our expectations of what achievement and capability should look like. We assume that anyone working in a support role must lack the qualifications for more demanding positions. We forget that many people choose their circumstances based on personal healing, family priorities, or a desire to serve in different ways. The tragedy isn't just that we're disrespectful to people who have already given more than most of us ever will. The tragedy is what we lose when we fail to recognize and learn from the expertise that walks among us every day. How many problems could be solved more effectively if we understood the complete capabilities of everyone on our team? Think about the people in your own workplace or community whose backgrounds you don't really know. The maintenance worker who handles complex problems with unusual competence. The administrative assistant who approaches every challenge with calm confidence that suggests extensive experience. The quiet colleague who never talks about their past, but always seems to know exactly what to do in difficult situations. What experiences might they carry from previous careers or military service? What skills might they have developed during years of high-pressure responsibility? What wisdom might they have gained from navigating challenges that most people never face? Nora's story reminds us that true expertise often chooses humility over recognition. People who have proven themselves in the most demanding circumstances often feel no need to advertise their achievements or demand acknowledgement for their capabilities. They know their worth isn't dependent on other people's recognition or validation. The soldiers who initially mocked Nora weren't necessarily malicious or deliberately disrespectful. They were products of a culture that teaches us to make quick judgments based on surface appearances and current roles. But their willingness to learn and change after discovering her background shows that growth is possible when we're open to recognizing our assumptions. Tomorrow you'll encounter people whose stories you don't know and whose capabilities might surprise you, if circumstances ever revealed them. Before you decide who deserves respect and who doesn't, remember the quiet weapons technician who carried proof of extraordinary service in her pocket while everyone around her assumed she was ordinary. Because the person you're dismissing today might be exactly the person whose past achievements made your current security and freedom possible. And they might be willing to share their wisdom if you're humble enough to ask and wise enough to listen. If you believe in stories that reveal the hidden heroes around us, share this story, and don't forget to subscribe to NL Touching Stories. We tell the stories that shouldn't be forgotten. Real people creating real stories, not mass-produced AI content.